have you ever felt it? That sudden, quiet wrongness you can't explain. It's not logical. It's a feeling deep in your bones, a cold chill that runs down your spine when they smile, a heavy, invisible static in the air around them. You try to dismiss it. You tell yourself you're being paranoid or too sensitive. But that feeling is not paranoia. It is an alarm, and this video is about learning to finally listen. That alarm you feel, it is real. It is your mind's first line of defense against something profoundly damaging, but the threat it senses is rarely obvious. When we use the word evil in this video, we are not speaking of the monsters of folklore or the villains in masks. That kind of evil is easy to see. It announces itself. The evil we are discussing today is quiet. It is subtle. It is the slow, methodical erosion of your sense of self. Think of it as an invisible poison. It is the deliberate, calculated manipulation of your thoughts. It is the conscious, or sometimes unconscious, effort by another person to control your reality, to make you doubt what you know, what you feel, and what you see, to diminish your confidence until you feel small, confused, and lost. This evil doesn't use force. It rarely needs to. It uses charm. It uses your own empathy. It uses confusion. It weaponizes your kindness and your willingness to give the benefit of the doubt. It is the partner, the coworker, the friend, or even the family member who, bit by bit, chips away at your peace. They do it so slowly, so carefully, that you barely notice it's happening, until one day you wake up and you no longer recognize the person you've become. This is the evil that steals your reality. This is the evil that makes you question your own sanity. And it is perhaps the most dangerous kind, because it convinces you that you are the one who is broken. So, how do we fight an enemy we can barely see? How do we protect ourselves from a threat that wears such a convincing, friendly smile? This is where the wisdom of Stoicism becomes not just a philosophy, but a shield. There is a profound misunderstanding about Stoicism in the modern world. Many believe it is about suppressing emotion, about becoming cold, distant, or unfeeling. This could not be further from the truth. Stoicism is not about not feeling. It is about not being controlled by your feelings, and more importantly, not being controlled by the manipulative actions of others. Think of your mind, your inner peace, yourself, as a fortress. Your clarity, your confidence, your sense of what is true, that is the citadel. Stoicism is the art of guarding that fortress. It is the practice of understanding what is inside your control and what is not. It provides the tools to build strong walls, to identify threats not by their words, but by their patterns, and to maintain your sovereignty no matter what chaos rages outside. Stoicism is the art of protection. It is the conscious, deliberate choice to decide who and what you allow inside those walls. And here is the good news. This kind of manipulative toxicity, despite its subtle nature, is not invisible. In fact, it is incredibly predictable. It operates on a script. It leaves traces. It relies on specific, repeatable patterns of behavior. These patterns are the tells. They are the cracks in the mask. Once you learn to see these patterns, you can no longer unsee them. The manipulator's greatest weapon is your confusion, your self-doubt, your inability to name exactly what is happening. But once you can name it, once you see the pattern, their power begins to fade. The fog starts to lift. And that is the promise of this video. We are going to walk, step by step, through the 6 most powerful and common patterns, the 6 red flags that these individuals use to destabilize and control you. Our goal here is not to label people or to cast judgment. This is not an exercise in condemnation. This is an exercise in liberation. This is about giving you the clarity that you have likely been denied for a very long time. It is about validating that feeling in your gut. We are going to dissect each pattern, not just to identify it, but to understand why it works, how it targets your mind, and what its effect on you is. By the end of this journey, you will have a map. You will have the language to describe your reality. You will have the profound validation that no, you are not crazy. And you will have the Stoic tools you need to reclaim your peace. Your freedom begins with clarity, and that clarity begins now. Red flag number 1, they lie constantly, and they manipulate the truth. Now we must be clear. All human beings are capable of dishonesty. People lie for many reasons, out of fear, out of shame, to avoid hurting someone's feelings or to get out of trouble. That is a human flaw. But we are not talking about that. We are talking about something entirely different. We are talking about a pattern of deception that is systemic, pervasive, and has a much darker purpose. The individual we are describing does not lie simply to avoid consequences. In fact, you will often catch them in lies that seem completely pointless. Have you ever experienced this? You ask them a simple question, something mundane, what they had for lunch or what time they got home. They give you an answer and later you find out it was a lie. And the most confusing part, the truth was perfectly fine. The truth would have cost them nothing. It would have changed nothing. And you're left wondering, why? Why would you lie about that? That why is the key. That seemingly pointless lie is, perhaps, the most significant clue they can give you. Here is the truth. They are not lying to protect themselves. They are lying to test you. That first, small, unnecessary lie, it is a probe. It is a boundary test. They are sending out a feeler to see what you will do. Will you question it? Will you call them out? Or will you let it slide? Will you tell yourself it's not a big deal? Will you feel awkward about starting a confrontation over something so small? Will you, perhaps, even begin to doubt your own memory? When you do nothing, you have just given them their answer. You have just shown them that your perception of reality is negotiable. You have shown them that you value politeness or harmony or keeping the peace more than you value your own truth. You have shown them that you are a person who is willing to be confused. And for a manipulator, that information is gold. You have just given them the green light. You have given them permission to push the boundary further next time. Because this is not about the lie itself, it is about power. For this type of person, truth is not a standard to be respected. It is a variable to be twisted. Reality is not something to be shared. It is something to be controlled. Their entire sense of self, their superiority, is built on their ability to shape the narrative. Lying is not a tool they use in desperation. It is the language they speak. It is their nature. It is a game where they are the only one who knows the rules are fake. They get a thrill, a sense of quiet power from the knowledge that they can make you believe something that is not real. They feel powerful watching you navigate a world that they invented. And slowly, bit by bit, the lies get bigger. It starts with what they had for lunch. It moves to what someone said about you. It escalates to what happened last night. And before you know it, they are rewriting your shared history. They are denying things they said, things they did, things you were there for. This isn't just dishonesty. This is the architectural work of a manipulator. They are not just telling a lie, they are building an alternate reality, a false world. And their ultimate goal is to make you live in it. This is the foundation. This is the first and most essential red flag. Because without this foundation of lies, without your willingness to be confused, none of the other manipulations can take root. This is the soil in which all other toxicity grows. Picture this. You've noticed the pattern of small deceptions. You feel that brain fog we spoke of. And so one day you decide to find solid ground. You wait for a calm moment. You gather your thoughts. You are not accusing. You are not angry. You are simply trying to clarify reality. You say, "I'm a little confused. I clearly remember you said you would be home by 10 because I waited up." And then it happens. First comes the flat denial, a look of complete, baffling innocence. "I never said that. I absolutely did not. I said I'd be home late." You pause, you are sure, you remember the conversation, so you push back just gently. "No, I am certain you said 10. I remember because I..." And that is when the script flips. The denial turns into an attack, not on the facts, but on you, on your mind. They might sigh with a look of pity. "You always misremember things. You know what your memory is like." Or they get frustrated. "Why are you always trying to start a fight? You're twisting my words. I'm tired of this." And then, if you still don't back down, they deliver the final, devastating blow. The one designed to end the conversation and make you the problem. You are being paranoid. You are overthinking this, or the classic, "You are just too sensitive." Let's pause right here. This moment is the entire purpose of the lies. This tactic has a name. It is called gaslighting. Gaslighting is not just lying. It is psychological warfare. It is the deliberate attempt to make you doubt your own perception, your own memory, and ultimately your own sanity. The goal of gaslighting is not to win the argument. The goal is to make you stop arguing. The goal is to make you believe that you are no longer a reliable witness to your own life. Why? Because a person who cannot trust their own mind is a person who must rely on an external source for their truth. And that person, conveniently, is them. They are conditioning you. They are training you to stop trusting that inner voice. They are training you to accept their version of reality as the official version. This is the brain fog. This is the dizziness, the confusion, the exhaustion you feel. You walk away from that conversation, and you feel unreal. You feel shaky. You immediately begin to question yourself. Did I misunderstand? He seemed so sure. Maybe I did hear him wrong. Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I am the one starting the fights. You start to apologize for being confused. You start to stay quiet. You stop bringing things up because it's just not worth the fight. It's not worth that feeling of going crazy. This is the consequence. You learn to silence yourself. You learn to live in their world by their rules, accepting their reality. You have become disconnected from your own, and that is precisely what they want. Now, here is the Stoic anchor in this storm. The very foundation of all Stoic practice, the bedrock upon which all virtue, all peace, and all reason are built, is the ability to see the world clearly. The Stoics called this logos, or reason. It is the divine spark within us that allows us to perceive reality as it is, not as our fears, our desires, or as others tell us it is. You cannot practice reason in a fog of lies. You cannot find inner peace in a distorted reality. You cannot live a virtuous life when you are convinced that your own mind is your enemy. Therefore, the first and most sacred duty of a practicing Stoic is to be a guardian of their own mind. Your sanity is not negotiable. Your perception of reality is not up for debate. The moment someone insists that you must disbelieve your own clear senses, your own memory, your own reason, in order to maintain a relationship with them, they have shown you exactly who they are. Trusting your own perception is not arrogance. It is the most fundamental act of mental self-preservation. It is the first, necessary step back to solid ground. Red flag number 2. They are addicted to conflict. Most healthy human beings are wired for connection. We may not always agree, but we fundamentally seek harmony. We value peace. We build bridges, we compromise, we de-escalate. We see conflict as a problem to be solved, or, at the very least, a draining experience to be avoided. This person is not like that. To them, peace is not the goal. Peace is boring. Your peace, your calm, your stability, it makes them deeply uncomfortable. It's like a quiet room that is too quiet. It's an itch they have to scratch. They don't just stumble into drama, they are drawn to it like a moth to a flame. They don't just endure chaos, they create it. They are the chaos addict. And you must understand this. They feed on the negative energy that conflict creates. Think of it this way. When you are calm, centered, and at peace, you are in your own power. You are self-contained. You don't need anything from them. This state of wholeness in you is, to them, a threat and an insult. It highlights their own inner emptiness. So, they have to disrupt it. Their entire sense of power is external. It is not generated from within. It is harvested from you. This is the first crucial payoff: power. When they can say the one thing that makes you angry, when they can push the button that makes you cry, when they can manipulate a situation so that you lose your composure. They feel a profound, intoxicating sense of power. Your emotional reaction is their trophy. It is proof that they can control you. It proves to them that they are significant. The moment you lose your peace, they have successfully siphoned it. They have taken your internal stability and converted it into their external validation. The second payoff is attention. In a room full of harmony, where people are connecting and enjoying each other's company, the chaos addict feels invisible. They are irrelevant. But in a room on fire, everyone is paying attention. They become the secret director of the entire play. By creating a problem, they instantly become the center of the story. Everyone is now reacting to their drama. They get to watch as you become flustered, as others get drawn in, as relationships fracture. They are the ones pulling the strings, and the emotional distress of everyone around them is the evidence of their own importance. This is not an accident. They are not clumsy with their words. They are not just trying to be honest. They are arsonists. They are covertly starting fires, and then they stand back, sometimes even pretending to be a firefighter, all while enjoying the warmth and the spectacle of the blaze. They do not value what you value. You value connection, they value control. You value peace, they value power. And your suffering is their entertainment. So how does this play out? How do they orchestrate this drama? Picture this: you are at a holiday dinner or a work function or just a simple gathering of friends. The atmosphere is light. People are laughing. There is, for a moment, a rare feeling of harmony. You feel yourself relax. And that is their cue. The chaos addict has been quietly observing, not participating in the joy, but scanning the room. They are looking for the fault lines. They are identifying the old wounds, the subtle insecurities, the unspoken tensions between people. They will never be the one to shout. They will never make a scene themselves. That is far too obvious. They are the director, not the actor. Their art is subtle. Their weapon is the whisper. They will wait for a moment, pull one person aside, a colleague, a cousin, and plant a seed. They will disguise it as concern. I probably shouldn't say this, and I'm only telling you because I care about you. But I overheard John saying your part of the project was the one holding the team back. Or, even more insidiously, they will wait for a lull in the dinner conversation and drop a perfectly timed, innocent observation into the silence. It's just so wonderful we can all be together like this, they'll say with a pointed smile. Especially after you know everything that happened between Mark and Sarah. And just like that, the air is sucked out of the room. The laughter stops. The harmony is shattered. Mark and Sarah, who had just started to heal, now look at each other with fresh suspicion and old pain. The light, warm atmosphere becomes heavy and cold. And what does the director of this play do? They retreat. They quietly slip into the background. They take a sip of their drink, and they watch. If you look closely, you will see it. A faint, almost imperceptible flicker of satisfaction in their eyes. They are observing the confusion they have created. They are watching the arguments begin to simmer. They are watching the emotional distress radiate through the room. They have successfully set the stage on fire, and now they get to stand back, completely blameless, and watch the tragedy they authored. This is their masterpiece. What is the consequence of this? For you, the person who has to live or work with this individual, you are in a constant state of high alert. You learn to walk on eggshells. You find yourself trying to manage the environment at all times. You become the preemptive firefighter. You try to keep certain people separate. You try to steer conversations away from dangerous topics. You are constantly running interference, trying to smooth over the small verbal grenades they are always rolling into the room. You are exhausted. You can never truly relax. You can never be present because a part of your mind is always waiting for the next whisper, waiting for the next innocent comment, waiting for the next explosion. Your peace is perpetually held hostage. Here is the Stoic anchor. The highest goal of a Stoic is not just calm. It is a specific, robust state of tranquility called ataraxia. Ataraxia is not a fragile peace that depends on the world being quiet. It is an inner citadel, a fortress of the mind so strong that it remains undisturbed, even when the world outside is in flames. The chaos addict, their entire purpose is to prove that your fortress can be breached. Their goal is to prove that they, with one simple whisper, can topple your walls and steal your peace. And here is the truth taught by Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius. No one can breach your fortress unless you open the gate. When you get angry, when you get drawn into the fight, when you allow your emotional state to be dictated by their whisper, you have just unlocked the gate and handed them the key. You have given them the director's chair to your own emotions. You have agreed to be an actor in their play. You cannot control their addiction to chaos. You cannot change their nature. You cannot stop them from trying to light the match. But you can choose not to be the kindling. You can observe their attempt, see the bomb for what it is, and choose not to react. You can choose to protect your ataraxia. This is not weakness. This is not passive. This is the highest form of spiritual and mental power. It is the deliberate, conscious act of refusing to participate in their game. It is the act of guarding your own mind. Red flag number 3. They make you feel like you are always the one at fault. To be in a relationship with a person like this is to exist in a world where you are never right. In any healthy connection, there is a natural ebb and flow of responsibility. People make mistakes. They apologize. They learn. They grow. There is a shared understanding that both parties are human, both are flawed, and both are trying. But in this dynamic, that entire system of mutual accountability is gone. It is replaced by a one-way street. Everything that goes wrong is your fault. If they are in a bad mood, it is because of something you said or something you didn't say. If they get angry and yell, it is because you pushed them to that point. If they are unhappy, it is because you are not loving enough, not supportive enough, not quiet enough, or not interesting enough. If their own plans fail, it is because you distracted them or didn't believe in them sufficiently. The rain, the traffic, the burnt toast. Somehow, the blame will always find its way back to you. At first, you fight it. It seems absurd. But they are so convincing, they are so relentless, their version of events is so absolute. And after months or years of this constant, dripping erosion of blame, you start to believe it. This is not an accident. This is not them simply avoiding responsibility. This is a deliberate, strategic, and profoundly effective act of psychological erosion. Here is the truth. They need you to believe that you are the problem. This entire manipulation is not about them being right. It is about you being wrong. Their entire reality, their sense of control, is built on the foundation of your perceived inadequacy. Why? Because if you are the one who is always at fault, then you are the one who must always fix things. Think of it this way. If you believe you are the problem, you will spend all of your energy trying to solve yourself. You will go into an endless cycle of self-analysis, self-criticism, and self-improvement. You will think, if I am just a little quieter, a little more patient, if I learn to word things differently, if I anticipate their needs better, then things will be peaceful. Then they will be happy. You are now in a hamster wheel that they have built for you. You are so busy running, so busy trying to be better, so busy trying to fix the relationship, that you no longer have any time or energy left to look at the person holding the rule book. You are too busy trying to win a game that is, by its very design, unwinnable. This is the first part of their victory. They have successfully diverted all of your attention from their behavior onto your behavior. You are now managing yourself, policing yourself, criticizing yourself on their behalf. They don't even have to do the work anymore. You are doing it for them. The second part is even darker. If you are the problem, you will never leave. People who believe they are fundamentally flawed, broken, or too sensitive do not feel they deserve peace. They do not feel they deserve a healthy, calm relationship. They begin to believe that this chaos, this criticism, this blame is what they deserve. It is the price they must pay for their own inadequacy. They have successfully convinced you that the prison is, in fact, your home. This is the art of blame. It is not just a defense mechanism. It is a weapon of control. It is an acid poured on your self-esteem, slowly dissolving your confidence until you are too weak to even look for the exit. Let's play out the scene. You have been subjected to the constant, low-level hum of blame. You're starting to feel like the problem. But one day, they do something that is not ambiguous. It is clearly, objectively hurtful. Maybe it's a joke they make about you in front of your friends, a joke that cuts just a little too deep, or a cruel, dismissive comment about a project you worked hard on. You feel that sharp, undeniable sting of pain. You are a reasonable person. You are an empathetic person, so you don't explode. You wait. You let the emotions settle. You choose a calm, private moment. You gather your courage and you use all the right language. You don't accuse. You say, "I need to tell you something." When you said that, in front of our friends. It genuinely hurt my feelings. It made me feel small. You are simply and vulnerably stating your reality. You are holding up a mirror to their behavior. You are hoping for connection, for understanding. You are expecting perhaps an "oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I was just teasing." But that is not what you get. Instead, you are met with a cold stare, a sigh, or perhaps a look of profound disappointment in you. And then come the words that perform a kind of dark alchemy, turning the entire situation inside out. First, they minimize. "I was just joking. God, why do you have to take everything so seriously?" Then they reverse the blame. "The problem isn't what I said. The problem is that you reacted that way." And then, if you still try to hold your ground, they deliver the final, fatal blow. The one phrase designed to shut you down completely, to invalidate your entire reality, and to end the conversation. "You are just too sensitive." Let's pause on that phrase. For any of you who have heard this, you know the power it holds. It is a psychological checkmate. In that single moment, the ground vanishes beneath your feet. You came to them as the injured party, and you are now being told that your injury itself is the real offense. You came seeking validation for your pain, and you were handed shame for having pain. And what is the result? What do most of us do in that moment? We apologize. You apologize. You say, "Oh, you're right, I'm sorry. I guess I overreacted." Think about what just happened. You have just apologized to someone for the pain they inflicted on you. You have just been successfully trained. You have been taught that your feelings are not valid data. You have learned that your emotions are an inconvenience. You have learned that your pain is your fault. And so you adapt. You learn to self-censor. You stop bringing things up. You swallow your own pain. You begin to question that internal alarm system. You start to truly believe the narrative. Maybe I am the problem. Maybe I am just too sensitive. Now, let us bring in the Stoic anchor. The very heart of Stoic practice is what we call radical accountability. It is the discipline of owning your choices, your judgments, and your actions. It is about looking inward first. The manipulator is a black hole of accountability. They do the exact opposite. They outsource the responsibility for their actions onto you. They make you accountable for their cruelty. But the Stoics, from Epictetus to Marcus Aurelius, taught us that our emotions and impressions are vital. They are data. Your feelings are not right or wrong, they simply are. Your pain is a signal. It is an alarm bell. It is your mind's truthful, logical response to a wound. It is telling you that a boundary has been crossed, that something is not right. When someone tells you, "You are too sensitive," they are not making a simple observation. They are issuing a command. They are commanding you to invalidate your own data. They are ordering you to silence your own alarm system. And why? It is simple. They want to be able to continue crossing your boundaries without the inconvenient, uncomfortable noise of your alarm. A true Stoic, a true guardian of their inner citadel, does not let an outside force edit their reality. Your sensitivity is not a weakness. It is your perception. It is your strength. It is the very part of you that is trying to tell you the truth. Do not let them, or anyone, convince you to ignore it. Red flag number 4. They play the victim in every situation. Now we have arrived at what is perhaps the most confusing, the most insidious, and the most twisted of all the red flags. It is the great twist in their manipulative play. Because this tactic does not feel like an attack, it does not present as aggression or control or power. It presents as the exact opposite. It presents as weakness. It presents as sadness. It presents as profound, unending suffering. But here is the truth, and this may be the hardest truth to accept. It is not weakness. It is a weapon disguised as weakness. It is the deliberate, calculated strategy of a powerful manipulator, pretending to be powerless in order to control the truly empathetic. This person has studied you. They know your nature. They know you are a good person. They know you are compassionate. They know you are a fixer. They know you hate to see anyone in pain and that your instinct is to help, to soothe, and to heal. And so they take that, the best and most beautiful part of your character, and they weaponize it against you. Your empathy is their primary target. This performance of victimhood serves 2 brilliant, terrible purposes. The first is that it is a shield. It is a perfect, impenetrable shield against all responsibility and all accountability. Think about it. How can you possibly be angry at someone who is always suffering? How can you criticize a person who is perpetually the one being wronged by the world, by their boss, by their family, by their past? The moment you try, the moment you gather your courage to say, "What you did was not okay. You hurt me," they will deploy the shield. They will immediately counter with a story of their own suffering. "You think you're having a bad day? Let me tell you what I had to deal with." Or they will remind you of their tragic past, their unending struggles. And suddenly your valid, reasonable complaint feels small. It feels petty. You came to them seeking accountability, and you walk away feeling guilty. Guilty for being so selfish as to bring up your own pain when they are clearly suffering so much more. The shield has worked. They have dodged all responsibility, and you have been put back in your place. The second function of this tactic is a chain. This is the part that keeps you bound to them, often for years. The victim card is the most powerful tool they have to generate and manipulate your guilt. They know that as long as you feel sorry for them, you will never leave them. They are the expert at the managed crisis. Every time you get fed up, every time you are exhausted from the lies, the conflict, the blame, every time you finally find the strength to pull away, they will sense it. And a new crisis will suddenly appear. A health scare, a financial disaster, a sudden, deep depression, a story of how everyone else has abandoned them. And you, the good, kind, empathetic person, you pause, you stop with your hand on the doorknob. You think, "I can't leave them now, not like this. They're at rock bottom. They have no one else. They need me. And so, you stay. You stay to fix them. You stay to rescue them. You stay to be their savior. But you must understand this, and you must understand it clearly. Their rock bottom is not a temporary location. It is their permanent residence. Their crisis is not an event. It is a strategy. You are not their partner. You are their hostage, and you are being held captive by your own good heart. Let's paint this mirroring scene, because this is the moment that breaks people. You have endured the lies. You have navigated the chaos. You have shouldered the blame. You have been the rescuer for their endless, manufactured suffering. And you are done. You are not angry. You are not vengeful. You are just empty. You have nothing left to give. And so, in the quietest, calmest, most reasonable voice you can find, you finally hold up a boundary. You don't accuse, you simply state a fact. You say, I am exhausted. I cannot be your emotional dumping ground anymore. Or, I am not going to be blamed for that. Or simply, no, I won't do that. You are prepared for an argument. You are prepared for them to storm off. You are prepared for the blame. But what you are not prepared for is the collapse. It is instant. The person who may have been yelling a moment before suddenly shatters. Their face crumples. The voice breaks. The tears begin to flow, real or manufactured. And they look at you, not with anger, but with a look of such profound, devastating betrayal that it stops your heart. And then they deliver the line that flips the entire universe upside down. How could you say that to me? After everything I've been through, I can't believe you would be the one to hurt me like this. I thought you were the one person who cared. You are the cruel one. And there it is, the checkmate. In a single masterful stroke, the narrative is reversed. You, the one who has been manipulated, gaslit, and emotionally drained for months or years, are now officially the villain. You, the one finally setting a healthy boundary, are now the abuser. This is the nuclear option of their toolkit, and this tactic, while devastating in private, is even more powerful when it's used in public. This brings us to a pain that so many of you have described, an agonizing, isolating pain. We can call it the Cassandra syndrome. In Greek mythology, Cassandra was cursed with the gift of prophecy. She could see the future, but no one would ever believe her. You are Cassandra. Here is why this person lives a life of two faces. They have the private mask, the one you see, the one that is cold, manipulative, blaming, and chaotic. But they also have a public mask. And that public mask is brilliant. To your friends, your family, your colleagues, this person is charming. They are helpful, they are funny, and most of all, they are a victim. They are the good person who just has such a hard life and is always trying their best. The world sees the performance. You see the truth. So what happens when you, Cassandra, finally have the courage to try and warn someone? What happens when you go to a friend and say, "You don't see what he's like. He's cruel." They look at you like you are crazy. They say, "What are you talking about? He's the nicest guy. He's always so supportive." Or, you must be misunderstanding her. She's so sweet. You know she's been through so much. Maybe you're just being too sensitive. This is the final, perfect trap. They have not just isolated you from them. They have isolated you from your entire support system. They have used their public mask of victimhood to convince the world that you, the one person who sees the truth, are the unstable, unreliable, and cruel one. So, what is the Stoic response? What do you do when you are trapped on their stage and the entire audience believes you are the villain? Here is the anchor. You must remember this. You cannot control the play. You cannot control the audience's perception. You cannot control the mask they wear. But you can, with absolute authority, refuse to be an actor. The moment they flip the script, the moment they collapse and accuse you of being the abuser, you must understand deeply that the real conversation is over. The performance has begun, and your Stoic choice is non-participation. You do not argue, you do not plead your case to the audience. You do not get pulled into the drama trying to rip their mask off. Because the moment you start screaming, "He's not the victim, I am, he's lying," you look exactly like the crazy person they've painted you to be. No, the true power is quiet. You state your boundary, they begin their performance, and you turn and you walk away. You refuse to play the role they have written for you. You refuse to buy a ticket to their show. You let their performance play out to an empty theater. You cannot control the story they will tell about you to the world, but you can, and you must, choose to stop being a character in it. Red flag number 5. They are the constant critic, and they are blind to your success. Let's be very clear. In a healthy, loving, or even a functional relationship, there is a place for feedback. There is a place for constructive criticism. Someone who truly cares about you will want to see you grow, and sometimes that involves pointing out a blind spot or challenging you to be better. But that kind of feedback, it comes from a place of love. It is rare. It is specific. And it is always balanced by a mountain of support, encouragement, and celebration of your wins. That is not what we are talking about here. We are talking about a person who seems constitutionally incapable of seeing you shine. They are the light extinguisher. The dynamic is as predictable as it is heartbreaking. You are a person who is growing, you are trying, you are achieving, you work hard. You have moments of success, moments of joy, moments of pride. And this person is always there, waiting in the shadows to put that light out. They are a master of the subtle, soul-crushing criticism. It is a slow, relentless poison, a constant, dripping faucet of not quite good enough. If you get a promotion, they won't say, "Congratulations." They will say, "Oh, so you'll be working more hours then." Or, "That's nice. I guess the new manager just likes you." If you are proud of something you've created, they won't celebrate it. They will instantly find the one tiny flaw. This is good, but you see that one part right there. You should have done that differently. This is not constructive feedback. This is a pattern of diminishment. And on the other side of this coin is their total, absolute blindness to your victories. You can achieve something magnificent, something you have worked on for years, and they will greet it with a shrug, a non-reaction, a HMPH. Or worst of all, they will immediately change the subject to talk about themselves, to one-up you, to remind you that their achievement was bigger, their day was harder, their success was more impressive. So we must ask the question, why? Why would someone who claims to care about you be allergic to your joy? Why would they be so threatened by your success? Here is the truth, and it is a simple, painful one. They are jealous. They are consumed by a profound, corrosive envy. Your light, your growth, your joy, your competence, it is a mirror. And when they look at you, they don't see you. They see a reflection of their own emptiness, their own mediocrity, their own stagnation. Your light doesn't just illuminate you, it illuminates them, and it casts a very long, dark shadow. Your success is a direct, personal, and intolerable threat to their fragile ego. They live in a world of hierarchy, a world of up and down. And in their mind, for them to be up, you must be down. They cannot or will not do the hard work to rise to your level. So they are left with only one other option. They must pull you down to theirs. And this is where we see the tactic of shifting the goalposts. This is how they ensure you can never win. Let's say you do 10 things, and 9 of them are perfect. A healthy person would celebrate the 9. This person will only see the 1. They will fixate on the single flaw. They will magnify it. They will obsess over it. They will make that 1% of failure feel like 100% of your identity. And you, being a good and conscientious person, will try to fix that 1%. You will work harder, and you will finally perfect it. And the moment you do, they will move the goalposts. They will find something new, a new flaw, a new problem. Okay, you fixed that, but now your tone is the problem. You fixed your tone, but now the way you organize this is the problem. It is a game that is rigged. The rules are designed so that you can never, ever be good enough. And why? Because this isn't about your performance. This is about their control. They need you to be in a constant state of striving for their approval. They need you to be so focused on your flaws that you forget about your strengths. Because a person who knows their own strength, a person who is confident in their own achievements, a person who can validate themselves from within, is a person who is free. A free person is uncontrollable. And to the person who feels empty inside, the greatest possible threat is a free human being. Let's paint the scene. You have spent weeks, maybe months, pouring your heart into a project. You worked late, you sacrificed, you pushed past your limits, and finally, you succeed. You achieve the goal. You are filled with a rare, bright feeling of genuine pride. You are happy. And you make the mistake of sharing this happiness with them. You go to them excited. You say, "I did it, I got the promotion," or "I finished the painting," or "I finally ran the marathon." You are looking for connection, a high five, a hug, a simple, "Wow, that's incredible, I'm so proud of you." Instead, you are met with a blank stare, a long pause, and then the light extinguishing words, a cold, dismissive shrug. "Oh, that's nice." Or the immediate minimization. "Well, that's good, but you could have done it faster, right?" Or the most common, the immediate pivot to them. "A marathon? Yeah, that's decent. I used to run those in my 20s. My time was much faster, of course." And just like that, your light is gone. Your joy, your pride, it shrivels. It's as if they just opened a window and let all the warmth out of the room. What is the consequence of this, repeated over years? That voice, their voice, the one that says not good enough, the one that says but, the one that says it's not that impressive. It stops being an external voice. It becomes your internal voice. You start to do it to yourself. You will achieve something, and you will feel no joy. You will only hear that critical echo in your own head, pointing out the flaws, minimizing the win. They have successfully installed their own critical programming inside of you. And here we must pause. Because for many of you, when you hear this, you are not thinking of a partner or a boss. Your mind goes back, further. You are thinking of your childhood. You are thinking of a parent. And as we talk about these red flags, a voice inside you may be screaming, "But I couldn't just walk away. I was 4. I was 10. I was 15. And you are absolutely right. This is the wound of origin. This is the root of the pain. All the advice we give, set boundaries, protect your peace, walk away, that is the advice for an adult. It is a luxury a child does not have. You couldn't leave. Your literal physical survival depended on the very person who was diminishing you. You were taught by the world, you must trust your father, you must honor your mother, while your own intuition, your own alarm system, was screaming that something was terribly wrong. So what did you do? You did what any brilliant, creative, surviving child would do. You walked away, inside. You learned to make yourself small. You learned to dim your own light to avoid triggering their envy. You learned to believe their critical voice because believing them was safer than believing yourself. Your self-doubt was not a weakness. It was a survival mechanism. But here is the profound truth. The Stoic wisdom still applies to you, not to the child then who had no choice, but to the adult now who does. Your journey is different. Your task is not, and perhaps never was, about physically walking away. Your task is eviction. Your task is the sacred, difficult work of separating their voice from your own. It is the journey of finding that original, true voice, the one that was there when you were 4, the one that knew your light was bright, the one that knew you were good, the one that was right all along. This brings us to the Stoic anchor. A Stoic sense of self-worth is internal. It is built from within. It is based on our own actions, our own character, our own virtue. It is not based on the opinions, the applause, or the criticism of others. The manipulator, the light extinguisher, their self is entirely external. They feel nothing inside. They are hollow. They have no internal measuring stick, so they must steal yours. They are trying to hand you their broken, poisoned measuring stick and convince you to measure your own worth with it. Do not accept it. You are the only person who holds the measure of your own worth. Do not let anyone, especially someone who cannot even see their own, tell you what yours is. Red flag number 6. This is the final and most chilling of all. The one that, when you truly see it, changes everything. They display no empathy. We are not talking about someone who is a little cold or bad at expressing feelings. We are not talking about a flawed person who is self-absorbed or who struggles to see another's point of view. We are talking about a void, a complete and total absence of the one thing that connects us as human beings. Empathy is the invisible thread. It is the ability to say, I see your pain and it matters to me. It is the bridge of shared humanity. With this person, that bridge does not exist. This is the one red flag that, when all the others have confused you, cuts through the fog with the terrifying clarity of a surgeon's blade. But this red flag also comes with a profound question, a question that our rational minds must ask, the one that keeps us trapped, trying to figure them out. Why? How can any human being be like this? It feels unnatural. It feels inhuman. It feels evil. And here we must insert the most important module of understanding. We must answer this why, not to excuse them, but to liberate you. Here is the truth, the one that a philosopher like Thomas Kirk Hansen might observe. The answer is not that they are evil in the way of a demon or a monster. The answer is that they are empty. They are hollow. Think of it this way. A healthy person, a whole person, builds their sense of self from the inside out. You have an inner core, you have values, you have principles, you have a conscience. You can generate your own warmth, your own validation. You know that you exist because you feel it from the inside. This person does not. There is at their core nothing, a void, a black hole, a profound, terrifying emptiness. They have no stable internal sense of self. And so their entire existence is a desperate, lifelong scramble to build a self from the outside in. How do they do this? They cannot generate their own energy, so they must siphon it. They cannot generate their own sense of being, so they must steal it from you. They need you to be their mirror. Your reaction, your joy, your anger, your pain, your frustration. That is the only proof they have that they exist. Your emotional response is the reflection they look for every single day to reassure themselves that they are real. And suddenly, every other red flag we have discussed makes perfect logical sense. This is why they must lie and gaslight. Flag 1. They must control the reflection. If you have your own reality, you are a broken mirror. They must shatter your reality so that theirs is the only one. This is why they are addicted to chaos. Flag 2. A calm, peaceful you is a mirror reflecting nothing. It is terrifying to them. They must provoke you into an emotional reaction, just to feel the rush of existing. This is why they must always blame you. Flag 3 and criticize you. Flag 5. Your light, your confidence, your success. It highlights their own hollowness. It is an intolerable reminder of their own emptiness. They must diminish you, dim your light, and douse your joy, so that they can feel superior in comparison. And this is why they cannot feel empathy. When you are in pain, when you are crying, when you are begging for understanding, they look at you, and they do not see a person. They cannot. They see a tool. They see a mirror that is not reflecting what they want. They see a battery that is failing to charge them. Your pain is not, to them, a shared human experience. It is an inconvenience. It is a nuisance, or worse. It is a boring performance that is, inconveniently, not about them. This is the psychological reality of the narcissist. They are, as one viewer so wisely put it, deceiving themselves first. They have no capacity for introspection, because if they ever truly looked inside, they would find nothing but the void. And this understanding is the key to your freedom. Understanding why they are empty is the logical part. Witnessing that emptiness in action is the emotional part. This is the moment that, more than any other, shatters your denial. This is the moment that finally breaks the spell. Picture this. You are at your lowest point. You have just experienced a profound loss, the death of a loved one, a devastating career failure, a frightening health diagnosis. You are broken. You are grieving. Your entire world has gone dark. You are not fighting. You are not arguing. You are simply in pain. And in that moment of raw, unguarded vulnerability, you turn to this person. The person who is supposed to be your partner, your friend, your parent. You are not looking for them to fix it. You are not looking for answers. You are looking for a hand to hold, for a shared silence, for a look that says, I am here with you in this darkness. You are looking for that one simple human bridge of empathy. And you look at them, and there is nothing. Nothing. You are crying, and they are staring at you, not with compassion, not with sadness, but with a look that is cold, distant, and bored. It is a blank, sterile, almost inconvenienced look. You are pouring your heart out, your voice is breaking, and they check their phone. They sigh, not with sadness for you, but with impatience. Or, worse, they find a way, in that moment of your deepest grief, to make it about them. You say, my mother just passed away, and they reply, yeah, that's tough. It reminds me of this one time my boss was unfair to me at work. Or they offer a cold, empty platitude, a Hallmark card phrase with no feeling behind it. Well, that's life. Everyone dies. You'll get over it. In that moment, you are looking at them, and you have the most profound, bone-chilling realization of your entire life. You are completely and utterly alone. You are not in the room with another human being. You are in the room with a shell, a facade, a beautifully crafted costume with nothing inside. This is the ultimate consequence. This is the final, heartbreaking reveal. You realize that all the love you've poured in, all the empathy you've given, all the excuses you've made, you haven't been pouring it into a person. You've been pouring it into a void, a black hole, and it has all just disappeared. You realize that if you were to disappear tomorrow, They would not grieve, they would be inconvenienced. They would simply be annoyed that their mirror, their tool, has been taken away. This is the loneliness that so many of you have described. It is the loneliness of being invisible. And now, the Stoic anchor. The Stoics had a beautiful, profound concept. They called it sympatheia. It is the belief that all things in the universe are interconnected, that we are all part of one single living organism, that your joy is my joy and your pain is my pain. This is the very essence of our humanity. It is the core of Stoic virtue. To be a good person, a rational person, is to recognize this connection, to live in accordance with it, to feel compassion. The person without empathy has, by their very nature, cut themselves off from humanity. They have severed that sacred thread of sympatheia. They live in a universe of one. They are, in the truest sense of the word, spiritually and emotionally alone. And here is the final, liberating, Stoic truth. You cannot find warmth in a place where there is no fire. You cannot draw water from an empty well. And you cannot ever teach a void how to feel. It is not your job to fix them. It is not your failure that you could not heal them. It is your job to see the void for what it is, and to finally walk away, and find the warmth that you, as a human being, are worthy of. And so, we arrive at the end of our journey. We began this journey with that quiet, gnawing, intuitive feeling that something is wrong that you could not name. We have walked step by step through the fog of confusion. We have put names to the shadows. The lies, the gaslighting, the addiction to chaos, the art of blame, the too sensitive script, the twist of victimhood, the pain of the Cassandra curse, the dimming of your light, the wound of childhood, and finally, the chilling, hollow void of empathy. To see this, to recognize these patterns, is not just an intellectual exercise. It is the first, powerful, foundational step to reclaiming your sanity. It is the validation you have deserved, perhaps for years. It is the proof in plain, undeniable language that you are not broken, you are not crazy, you were never the problem. And yet, even now, even with this map in your hands and this clarity in your mind, there is a final, powerful barrier. It is the one that so many of you have spoken of. It is the one that, for good people, is the hardest to overcome. It is the voice of guilt. It is the voice that whispers, "But I can't just leave. Who will take care of them? I made a promise. What if I am the one being cruel? What if I'm abandoning them in their time of need?" This is the manipulator's final masterstroke. They have studied you. They know you are an empathetic, compassionate, and responsible person. And so they have taken the most virtuous, beautiful part of your character and turned it into the very bars of your own cage. This is where we must, as Stoics, draw the most important distinction of our lives. We must separate true responsibility from imposed obligation. A Stoic takes radical responsibility for their own actions, their own integrity, their own choices. You are responsible for being kind. You are responsible for being truthful. But you are not responsible for a person who is determined to be their own victim. You are not responsible for fixing a person who enjoys the chaos. You are not obligated to heal a person who is, at their core, a void. You are not required to set yourself on fire just to keep them warm. When you finally choose to walk away, that is not an act of aggression. It is not a failure of your empathy. It is an act of profound self-preservation. It is the ultimate success of your wisdom. You are not abandoning a human being. You are, at long last, rescuing yourself from a black hole. But this liberation, it brings one last challenge. It is the question that echoes in the comments. What now? I see this everywhere. How can I ever trust anyone again? What if 99% of the world is just like this? This is the final cognitive trap. This is the scar tissue from the wound. Your mind's alarm system, which was silenced and ignored for so long, is now overactive. It is stuck in the ON position. It is screaming danger at everyone. You begin to confuse a simple human flaw with a manipulative pattern. The first Stoic challenge was to recognize the patterns of toxicity so that you could get free. The second and higher Stoic challenge is to learn to recalibrate. It is the slow, patient work of reteaching your mind to see the difference. A colleague who is selfish one day is not the same as a person who is empty, flag 6. A friend who tells a lie out of fear is not the same as a person who lies to control your reality, flag 1. Your new wisdom is not just in seeing the red flags. Your true higher wisdom is learning to see the green ones again. It is learning to protect your fortress without permanently sealing the gates. It is learning to trust, not blindly as before, but wisely. This journey is not easy, and you do not have to walk it alone. This is not just a video. This is a forum. This is a community. If this resonated with you, if you saw your own story in these patterns, I want you to read the comments below. You will find thousands of others who have felt what you feel. You will find that you are not, and you have never been, alone. Share your story. Share your part of the journey. You never know who, in their darkest moment of confusion, might be reading your words and finding the one piece of clarity they need to start their own journey to freedom. Guard your mind, trust your instincts, and protect your peace.